Hello, welcome to today's webinar, and thank you for attending. My name is John Sweden, and our topic today is an introductory webinar of Resolv Operation Transaction Center for SAP Business One. During the webinar, all attendees will be on mute. If you have any questions, please enter them into the chat, and I will address them at the end of the session. For today's agenda, we'll start with an introduction of the Resolv Operation Transaction Center, a module within the Resolv suite. Next, we'll discuss the three main screens called hubs that make up OTC. We will learn who can benefit from implementing Resolv Operations Transaction Center and go over some key examples of how OTC makes SAP Business One better for each department. Following the introduction, we will have a demonstration in SAP Business One to see Resolv Operations Transaction Center and its three hubs in action. Finally, I will present a special thank you offer for attending. Resolv Operations Transaction Center, or OTC for short, is a module that presents data in such a way that it becomes the nerve center for organizations utilizing SAP Business One. It features all the marketing documents and many other transactions from SAP Business One to improve your ability to work with B1 from beginning to end. You will gain real-time insight and be able to see what's happening in all aspects of your business operations from one single screen. Bringing this all together will allow you to make tactical decisions and direct your operations by turning information into action. The Resolv suite is a leading solution comprised of several modules to improve and extend the functionality of SAP Business One using our B1 first approach of embedding the capabilities directly into core SAP functionality. Resolv Operation Transaction Center is a key part of the Resolv suite, which is available for both SQL and HANA and is certified by SAP. Enabling Resolv OTC is very easy as it is ready to use without any configuration needed. Better still, it will use all the existing data already in SAP Business One, providing you with optimal use from minute one. As mentioned earlier, Resolv Operation Transaction Center's primary screens are referred to as hubs. They serve to bring together useful information that exists in spokes throughout SAP Business One into a centralized spot in a single screen. There are three main hubs within Resolv Operation Transaction Center. The first hub is the Customer Hub. Within the Customer Hub, you can navigate through all elements of the customer relationship with a primary focus on sales, AR, and service. For example, among many uses, you can answer questions about the shipping status of an order, look up a tracking number, or discuss how a payment was applied. A key feature is the Pricing and Availability tab to provide real-time information for items the customer purchases from you. With the Vendor Hub, you will have the ability to review or create purchase quotes or purchase orders, and review approval status, history, and item details. You can monitor the receiving status of goods receipt POs, vendor RMAs, and AP invoices. The Vendor Hub also provides easy at-your-fingertips access to manage activities, outgoing payments, and blanket agreements. And lastly, the Item Hub will allow you to focus on the importance of your items to the operations of your business. It includes all the power of the Customer Hub and Vendor Hub to see, manage, and interact with the supply and demand of an item. It extends into the inventory transfer requests, item locations, and production, including standard orders, special orders, disassembly orders, their statuses, and the receipt and issues that make it all work. Next, I want to talk about who benefits from Resolv Operation Transaction Center and how they gain insight from it. To begin with, all employees will benefit from OTC. However, we have identified some key roles and their usage that we commonly see with our clients. A prime example are business owners or other company executives. People in this role appreciate the real-time single-screen access to see both current status and history in a manner which provides oversight and is helpful in business assessments. Customer service representatives, or CSRs, will also benefit from OTC, where they will be able to answer customer questions quickly and efficiently and react to any changes or delays. Another key role are the operations managers, who through OTC will have the ability to gain situational awareness as well as deal with exceptions using OTC's pervasive item-based filters. Procurement managers benefit from OTC as they will gain the ability to manage vendor relationships in a CRM-like manner. Last but certainly not least, salespeople become stronger ambassadors for your business as they will have the ability to add value to their customers as trusted sources of information during customer engagement, and of course, drive new business. Previously, I mentioned how Resolv Suite is a leading solution comprised of several modules to improve and extend the functionality of SAP Business One. Although each module is available independently and can work in a standalone fashion, we have organized them into four main categories based on how they help your company. A key strength of the Resolv Suite is that each module can build on each other and become better together. Because Resolv Operation Transaction Center is a part of the Resolv Suite, any additional module you may be interested in is automatically embedded into the appropriate OTC hubs. For example, procurement managers that work with importing ocean containers will be able to see and track their status on the water through to the warehouse directly in the vendor hub when Resolv Container Management is implemented. Another powerful example for customer service representatives is the ability to see in their customer hub when Advanced Allocations has released pick lists to the warehouse, and even the ability to see WMS information to know who is working on their orders and if they can make any changes. Please contact us if you'd like more information about any other modules available in the Resolv Suite. I did say that there was a special thank you offer for attending today's webinar. Because we want to make sure that you get the most out of your SAP Business One investment, we believe everyone should have their own Operation Transaction Center. Each person that attended today will receive an Operation Transaction Center license for their company, as well as a free training for OTC on your system. Additionally, all registered attendees will get a recording of this webinar. Once again, we thank you for your interest in Resolv, and I hope you enjoy the demonstration. Daryl, let me pass it on to you.
Thank you, John. And here we are inside of SAP Business One. And as you can see, I have all of the Resolv Suite enabled here, but today we're going to be focusing on Resolv Operation Transaction Center. And here within the Resolv Operation Transaction Center, you can see we have the three different hubs, those primary hubs that we're going to discuss today. We're going to start from the perspective of a business owner or a company executive. So with that, I'll go ahead and open up the customer hub. And I'll just take it and make it go full screen. And what we can do is how an owner or an executive might want to take a look at their data. We can start by switching to the Order tab. And you'll notice that the data refreshes right away. So this gives me a company level overview. I'm able to see that my sales outstanding right now, I have 243 outstanding sales orders worth a little over $5.3 million. So this gives me a good overview of how my sales are doing. Now, what I might want to be able to do is to not look just at the current information, but to be able to look at history. So that gives me the ability to use the filters up here. So let's say I wanted to take a look at last quarter. I'll come in here and say that I want to do 10/1, 20 through 12/31/20, and in addition to that, I also want to look at not just open documents, but I want to look at both open and closed. And so now I'm able to come in here and see how we did for last quarter. Now, of course, this is demo data, so forgive the differences. But you can see here last quarter we actually did 27 documents, 27 orders, and you're able to compare that to the document totals. Now, when we're looking at the history for the sales, we might also want to be able to see what we booked versus what we actually billed. So I can switch over to the invoice tab. And as you can see, I'm immediately able to come in here and keep the exact same filters. So I didn't need to change the filters. They stayed with me. And so now I'm able to go ahead and take a look and see, well, what did we actually build last quarter? And so you can see again the invoicing here, and I'm able to look at the data. So another great way to be able to use this is to also look at performance. So we looked at company performance. We were able to look outstanding sales. We were also able to look at last quarter. Perhaps for last quarter, I want to see how the performance was for a particular employee. So I can come here into the salesperson and actually just say, okay, let's go see how Michael is doing. Or Mike. So I'm going to come in here and take a look at Mike. And as you can see here, it shows me his sales and gives me the updated documents and number of totals. So this gives me the ability to quickly and easily give both an overview of the company and see the performance and the metrics for the company, as well as be able to have oversight and monitoring for the performance of each of the individual employees that I might want to keep track of. Now, another thing that we can do here, let me just go ahead and clear these dates, is to switch over to the incoming payments. And so now you can see I'm able to see all of the incoming payments that we had, but I'm just going to change my date filter to yesterday. So I'll come in here and just say I want to see the 3rd, and again, hit display. And so now, oh, I see. So let me just go ahead and clear the mic thing. And so now you can see here I have the list of incoming payments that came in yesterday. So this is all of the payments that came in. You can see here I've got my 3 documents. $137,000 came in, and I'm able to see how it came in as a transfer or a couple of checks. I can see who paid and how much. So this is a great way to be able to keep tabs on the cash that came in and who's paying. And so again, a really good way to be able to quickly and easily get information. Now, after that, I might want to know if there's any hot button issues. So what I can come here and do is go ahead and switch to service. And in the service, you can see there's a couple of different service tabs. I'm going to switch to the service call tab. And what this does is it shows me that I have just a single open service issue that's outstanding from yesterday. We can see here that the Sachem School District had a project that needed to be done tomorrow, and this was a high priority. Now, I can also come here and again clear the date filters and be able to see all of the outstanding service issues. But as an executive, I may not be interested in all of them, so I also have the ability to use filters that are tab specific. So for example, here I can look and see, okay, let's just look at all the open high priority issues. And now I'm able to come and take a look at just the handful of the service issues that I'm interested in. Now in this particular case, I'm really not interested in the both, so I'm going to switch back to open documents here. And I can see that there are 2 issues that I might need to have my attention on, particularly this one from Amazon, which is very old. I might want to go ahead and follow up on that to see, why we haven't addressed one of our most important customers. So again, it gives you the quick and easy ability to come in and start your day by getting an overview of how the company is performing, what issues are outstanding. And another thing that we might want to be able to do is take a look and see how we're doing with our business development. So this is an area where we can switch to campaigns. And here you can see all of the different campaigns that we have going outstanding. And within these campaigns here, I might want to see more information. So I can actually come here and check the Show Item Detail checkbox. And this is going to refresh with all of the actual items that we're working with. Now, again, here, I might want to say, okay, well, let's just see who's interested. So I can change my response from all to just interested. And now we're able to come in here and see the people who are interested in, so we can see which campaign it is, which customer, and which products they're interested in. So again, this gives us the ability to go and see, how we're performing in our campaigns and be able to, make any input that we have, make sure that we follow up with customers, and also work with our employees to make sure that everything is working. So next, let's go ahead and take a look at how a customer service person might be able to use this same customer hub and be able to get a completely different use. So we'll start by going to the customer. And I'm just going to go ahead and find SAP. And you'll notice that the customer has been enhanced with the View OTC option. So just like you could drill into the different balances that you already know, you'll have this option to come in here and do View OTC. And again, I'll take it full screen. And what you'll notice here is that it's the exact same screen. We can access it from the main menu, but you also can access it directly from a customer. And once you're in a customer, it automatically filtered here. So now we're looking at just the information about the customer. So again, it really makes it quick and easy for a customer service representative to maybe have somebody on the phone, need to be able to answer any questions, and we can go ahead and get started on how this is going to take a look. So first of all, here we have a situation where we're looking at the different quotations. Again, we can check show item details, and that's going to refresh here with our different information, and possibly the customer is asking for a change to their quote. So you have the ability to drill into the quote. And of course, that will open the document. And then once we're in the document, you can make changes just like you would anything. So I might go ahead and change this quantity from 2 to, let's say, 5 units that they want. And then I can just, yes, I'm just going to have order reservations turned on. I'm going to update the reservation here. And what these order reservations do, just for those of you who aren't familiar with this particular module, this is a separate module, is it allows us to actually be able to hold stock even for quotes. So I'll just click OK on that, and then we'll update our quote. And after updating, click OK. If we come back and hit display, you can see that the quantity is now updated here to 5 units from where it was before. So again, very easy to be able to find the transactions, to be able to drill in and do an update. Now, another thing that might wind up happening is they come in and they ask about their sales orders. So we can come over to the sales orders here, and what they're really looking for is the ability to find out what they ordered last month, because they want to reorder something again. So again, I can come in here and say, okay, let's take a look at January 1st to January 31st, and we'll go ahead and again take a look at both. And so now the screen refreshes, and it's easy for us to be able to find their orders. So here I already had the show item detail loaded, so I'm able to find all the different orders that they had. And this is going to allow me to be able to, again, find the order that they want, and then I can drill in and duplicate or use any other function that I want to in terms of creating a new order. Now, that, again, really helps us be able to switch easily between current status, like we looked at with the quotations, and, again, history, being able to go back and see the customer's history. So, that's something that is really useful. Now, this particular customer is not an EDI customer, but just kind of going on what we were talking about before about how the modules all stack into each other. Had this been an EDI customer, you would have been able to see and hear the different statuses. So you can see we have the organization for the 850s and any kind of acknowledgments. So I could also answer any questions or just check to make sure the EDI is working. But what we can do is also take a look, like we talked about, for customer service with warehouse management. And again, I'm just going to clear the date filters and hit display. And again, what this is going to let me do as a customer service person is to be able to get information about what's happening with the orders. So for example, if I want to see whether or not Advanced Allocations has released the order for picking, I can come in here and say, okay, let's take a look at released for picking. So this here now shows me all of the different orders that have actually been released and are out in the warehouse, and I can actually see who has them, and I can discuss whether or not I want to make changes. Now, I can actually even go back and see the history here, so I can go and say, okay, let's actually see what's been picked. And then this refreshes, and it shows me all the orders that have actually been picked, and I can even filter on the picker. So if I want to be able to see what I did, I can come in here and filter, and that's going to show me the list of documents that I actually picked. Now these have picked, but they haven't shipped yet. Now when they shipped, you'd either be able to go into freight management or delivery. If you're using our freight management, this is great because it gives us the ability to see which documents have actually been picked and packed, but not necessarily been shipped yet. So you can see here I have the unshipped versus the shipped, and this is really great because if this allows me to be able to, if I have to, be able to call down and see if I can add an item into a shipment, or if something hasn't shipped yet and I want to be able to cancel it, you can see we have the different status here. So I was able to go in and cancel a shipment. So this really takes us being able to go from a customer service person just beyond the status of the sales order to actually being able to drill down without having to get on a phone or the radio with somebody in the warehouse to be able to see the status. Because if it's already shipped, obviously it's very difficult to pull it back. But if it's in one of these statuses, I might be able to make an adjustment. So, just being able to kind of put everything together with all the different pieces, we have that information. But if you're not using warehouse management or freight management, the next step after a sales order would typically be the delivery. Of course, delivery is created if you are using WMS and freight management as well. And here again, you can see we have the ability to take a look at all of the information about the delivery. We have the different tracking numbers. You'll see here you have the arrow that can launch to the tracking, so it can actually track directly to it. Of course, this tracking number is invalid because it's demo data, but you can see it will take me right out to the appropriate carrier's website, and I can get the information for proof of delivery, for tracking status, all of that information. So again, here we're able to take a look at this again by item level. You'll notice here you can also expand. So if this was batch or serialized, you can get your batch information to be able to tell people exactly what's in those boxes as well. So this really just helps you be able to answer any questions they may have about shipments. If something came in and it was damaged, you can filter on a particular shipment, be able to look at that tracking number and then be able to quickly work with that. And in the unfortunate event that something is damaged, we can also take a look at the return requests. Return requests are the customer RMA. And so that customer RMA gives us the ability to come in here and take a look and see, which RMAs are outstanding. And if I did need to make a new one for that damaged document, you'll notice at the bottom of all of these screens, we have this new document button. And the new document button allows me to be able to come in here, and it automatically launches the RMA. You'll notice that the customer information was populated. I didn't need to do that. It came because we were filtered on the customer. And at this point, of course, just like anything else, you're able to copy from, and I can find my invoice or my delivery. So I'll just grab an invoice and grab a document. So now here you can see went through the wizard, and I've got my custom RMA, so I'll go ahead and add that. And now, again, you can see that's sitting here in the RMAs available for that customer to be able to send it back. We can track further to see whether or not it actually comes in as a return by looking at the returns or credit memos or other kinds of information. But what I want to focus on next is actually something called price and availability. So what we'll do is we'll come here into price and availability. And I'm just going to change this just to the New York warehouse. So instead of looking at all warehouses, which is a lot of information, we're just going to take a look at the New York warehouse here because it just makes it a little easier to see. And what this screen gives us the ability to do is to really, really quickly be able to answer questions when a customer calls and they want to know how much something is or how many you have available or what can ship, or if they have any other questions that they might want to be able to use with this. So first and foremost, you can look here. You can see this is showing me all the different items that we have. You'll notice that it gives me the pricing. In addition to the pricing, if there's any special prices for business partners, you can see here it will indicate that. So we have this asterisk, and if I drill in, you can see it's just the regular SAP special prices for business partners. So that information, was set up, just like you would any place else inside of SAP, bringing it right into the customer hub so we can see it, and it actually tells me the difference here. So this particular price list is based off of the online retailer's price list, which is different from the customer's normal price list, and that goes back to the special prices for business partners. I'm also able to take a look and see both the quantity that's on hand as well as the available quantity. So you're able to really review, all of the information very quickly and easily. Now, one thing that might happen is instead of looking at all items, I might be interested just in looking at the customer's previous sales. And here we'll start reviewing this office print. So they start talking to us about wanting to know about the printer. And as we're taking a look at this printer, although we do have some in stock, you can see here that they're overcommitted, so we actually have none available. So a couple of things that we could do with that. One is that we can go ahead and take a look at last prices. And so last prices allows us to be able to talk about how much it is. So if we're first answering the question and we tell them, well, it's $135, but they say, Well, actually, we bought it for 115 last time or something. Well, you can quickly get in there and confirm that information. So again, you can see the last prices report instead of having to open up a sales order to be able to access it. You're able to get it directly from here. Yeah, we can confirm that but it was when the quantity was 1,000. So again, we can quickly and easily get information about any history that we might have had for that product. But again, as we're talking to them, we notice that it's unavailable. We can also quickly get into alternative items. And again, you can see here, oh yes, we have the ability to substitute it. And actually, it's the A001 product. And as you can see here, the A001 product, we do actually have multiple available for that. So the pricing and availability screen really does help a lot because it gives you the ability to answer any questions they may have about their previous orders, and then be able to quickly and easily pull information that is available inside of SAP Business One, but in really all organized into one screen. Now, the next thing that winds up happening is a lot of customer service representatives, the people we work with, they tell us that they use this customer hub as their home base. So they actually never really close this screen. They'll just kind of keep it open in the background. Now, when the next customer calls, instead of having to go and bring up the customer card or anything else along those lines, they're actually just coming here and changing the customer. So now Amazon calls, and I just choose Amazon, and you can see the screen immediately refreshes, with the Amazon information. So again, now I have their pricing. I can answer their pricing and availability, or again, I could go back and take a look at information about their orders, or any other information. So this really becomes the launch pad, the home base that they're using to be able to come in and take a look at and answer all of the customer questions, because when they answer the phone or otherwise are working with the customer, they may not know exactly what the customer is going to ask, and now everything is available for them. So let's take a look at a different hub. I'm actually going to move on from business partners and customer service representatives, and we'll talk about it from like an operations manager perspective. So we'll open up the item hub. And again, I'll take it full screen. Now, when you're talking about the operations managers, there's multiple different types of operations managers. There's warehouse managers, there's logistics managers, there's people that have overall oversight. So again, this is really kind of grouping all of those kind of people together. So the first thing that you'll notice is that you have basically the exact same power that we had in the customer hub. So under sales AR, you see we basically have most of not all the different tabs here for the different marketing documents. But the primary driver is that we're no longer filtering by customer. We're taking a look at this information by item. So as I'm looking at all of my outstanding orders, if I wind up with an item of interest, so let's say I'm looking at this particular one here, and I say, oh, this item is CP001, why is this still sitting out there from 2019? I might want to come in here and say, okay, what else is going on with the item? So I can come in here and just enter the item code or look it up, of course. And it's going to refresh, and now I'm able to see, not just by customer, but by item. So I can see all the different items that are outstanding, and now I'm looking at this and I'm saying, I wonder what's going on with this item. Now, because I'm an operations manager, I'm not just interested just in the sales. I'm going to want to be able to get into why this is happening. So I'm able to quickly switch over to purchasing and go ahead and take a look at the purchase orders. Now, as I'm looking at this, you'll see that the filter state. So again, just like we had before when we were looking at the date filters or the salesperson filters in the customer hub, here the item filter persisted. And this is really, really helpful because I'm able to quickly and easily filter on a particular item of interest and move between sales and purchasing, and so on. Now, this purchasing is part of what the vendor hub is going to look like. Now, we're going to go into that in more detail in a little bit as we talk about a procurement manager. But again, for the operations manager, we really wanted to be able to see, why those orders were outstanding. And here you can see we actually have all of these POs that are overdue, probably particularly this one that was supposed to come in a couple of days ago, and it didn't come in. So from this point, again, you'd be able to look at approved or unapproved status. Here we're just looking at approved purchase orders because that's what matters in terms of being able to come in as a logistics manager. The other thing that we want to be able to then do is take a look and see, well, what's the current inventory status? So again, we'll switch to inventory. And you'll actually see here we have a couple of different things. So here we have an inventory transfer request. And not only do I need to supply those sales orders, but you can see here, again, I could filter by warehouse But I'm just looking at my warehouse, and I actually need to send, 100 of these units from my warehouse over to the Miami warehouse. So it's telling me my from and my to warehouse. So, I got to try to find out what's going on, but I do have inventory on hand. So let's go ahead and take a look at the item locations. So here again, you can see within the different item locations, I'm able to see the information. Perhaps some of these are restricted, like the receiving bin locations or the quality control locations, and that could create scenarios where the inventory is just not available to be released through the pick pack manager, and that could be a particular reason why those orders are sitting on back order. So again, this gives us the quick and easy ability to see where the stuff is in the warehouse. Again, I could filter across different warehouses, be able to see my inventory transfer requests, or even create new ones. Um, and if I create those new ones, they have the ability to, of course, create new supply. So I can go back and take a look at the information in a particular warehouse or across all my different warehouses. And then let's just go ahead and clear this item filter for a moment and take a look at production. So if we do take a look at production, you can see here the production does open up, being able to let me look at all of the demand, all the components that are going to be required for production that we have. Now, in this particular case here, as we're looking at the production here, excuse me, I'm interested in just really looking at the ones that are released. So I'm going to come in here and just change my status to released. And these released orders here now give me the ability to take a look at all the different components that were required, and I can actually see which ones have been issued. So you can see the required quantity, the open quantity, which ones have not yet been issued. And this all, of course, goes back to your regular SAP Business One production order, which might have routing stages or other kinds of things, but this is giving me an overview of everything that's going on, for the day. And if we're getting close to the end of the day and I'm looking at schedules and things I haven't processed, I can use this to be able to find exceptions to go out and find out why production isn't happening, or to be able to follow up, like we talked about with that overdue purchase order. I can reach out to the vendor or to the purchasing manager and ask them to reach out to the vendor to be able to help answer the questions. And then of course I can actually come in here and take a look at receipt for productions. And then be able to filter on, the date or the warehouse or whatever I want. But this gives me the ability to come in and see all the different items that were actually produced and all the information about those production orders. So again, this kind of ties, everything together. As a logistics manager, I also do have access to the warehouse management information. So again, I can come in here and take a look and make sure that I'm getting everything out the door. So if we want to be able to take a look at everything that's going out, let's say UPS next day air, and I selected something that didn't have any data, so let me just choose something different. I'll try FedEx overnight. Okay, so if I need to make sure that I want to make sure all of my FedEx overnight stuff goes out, and I want to be able to have the priority on that, I can come in here and filter on that to be able to see, everything that's going on. And I'm looking at these open documents. I can see who the appropriate pickers are, or filter on a picker, and then be able to make sure that I'm optimizing my flow, in the warehouse as well. Again, all from the same screen where I'm looking for the different exceptions. Now, next. We talked about the operations manager, logistics manager, a warehouse manager, but a procurement manager also needs to be able to have additional information. So we'll take a look at the vendor hub. And I'll just take this full screen. And you'll notice that the vendor hub here, looks very similar to the customer hub, where we're going to be able to have all of the different purchasing transactions as well as extra information. And so this is really an area where a procurement manager, a person who's responsible for making sure they're dealing with vendors, is going to be able to get CRM-like access to the purchasing and procurement data. So first, we'll take a look at the purchase orders tab. And again, here you can see I'm now looking at all purchase orders. But if I'm a particular buyer, so I'll come in here and I'll be Howard today. Okay, now I'm able to, as a buyer, And again, I could have filtered as a vendor if I wanted to look at a particular vendor, but I'm going to filter as a buyer to be able to see all of my outstanding purchase orders. So I can come in here and I can look to see, okay, well, which purchase orders have been approved, and you can see all of my purchase orders that have been approved and are outstanding, and I'm waiting for them. But I can also come in here and take a look at the unapproved. So if I want to see which purchase orders are not yet approved. I can see this. And again, here we're looking at this, and this is actually overdue and it was important. So let's take a look at the item detail, and we can see what happens. So here, this particular one probably wasn't approved because I ordered a massive quantity of these office printers, and as a result, it's a almost $1 million purchase order. So that one's waiting for approval, and perhaps we're just looking to see whether or not that's an appropriate amount of printers to be able to order. Okay. Now, in addition to this, you can also take a look at the information for containers. So if you are somebody who does importing and you have ocean containers or rail cars or other kind of information, you can see here we have the different containers. Now, when I'm looking at the containers, I can, of course, see all the item detail. I'm just going to put it back on summary. It makes it a little easier to see here. So here you can see I have all of my different scheduled shipments. It's telling me the different vendors that are in the shipment. You'll notice that I can have a shipment with multiple vendors in it, and I'm able to see the different containers that are coming in, when they're expected, what their current status is. So you can see I'm able to identify the status as to whether it's been received or cleared or planned. And this all goes back to the status on the water. So within the container management, we can have planned containers shipped that are in transit if they've reached their destination port, cleared customs, been received but not actually processed yet by the warehouse, or completed. So again, this allows me, if I'm working with the ocean containers, to be able to really be able to see and gain access to what's happening at the vendor level, at an order level, at my buyer level. I can come in here and see my products by the containers. So that's just another example of how you're able to stack the different modules together if you want to. Now, if we do have a scenario where we are looking at the goods returns, and in the goods returns here, you can see these are requests that I've made to return something to my vendor. So here, I'm able to go through and try to request and get an RMA from the vendor and keep track of them. And then once I actually do have the RMA, of course, I can actually keep track of which ones I've shipped back to the vendor here, and in the goods return, you can see, that's an area where it's showing me these are outstanding. I've actually already shipped these back to the vendor, and I'm waiting to get the credit memo. So I can either follow up directly with the vendor if it's my responsibility, or I can ask accounting to follow up to be able to look to see, what's going on with the credit memos. Now, another thing that you have the ability to do is to work with the activities. And here within the activities, you have the ability to come in here and see, what's going on. And I have a couple of different things. One of the things I might want to do is to filter on my type. I want to filter on my activity, and I'm going to come in here and just say I want to look at my tasks. And so here you can see I have a task that someone assigned to me. I'm supposed to go ahead and send a sample bottle to a trade show. And so this might give me the ability to come in here and follow up on the different work that I need to do. Again, without having to leave my screen, I can just quickly and easily move between my tasks and the work that I need to do, as well as following up on the status of the work that's already been done. And then just like we have for the price and availability, you'll see we have cost and availability over here. And in cost and availability, what this gives me the ability to do is to use this as again, almost like a CRM, or you can even call it like a VRM. So now what I want to do is I'm actually just going to go ahead and change this to a particular buyer. So I'm going to grab, let's say Far East Imports, vendor. So I'm going to grab Far East Imports. And in addition to that, I want to just filter just on the New York warehouse. So I'm going to come in here and grab just the New York warehouse. And what you can see here is that I'm now looking at all of the items that I buy from Far East Imports, and I'm looking at the New York warehouse. This is giving me information about the on-hand quantity available, the pricing that we have associated with this particular vendor, being able to look at special pricing. But perhaps this is, again, I'm not looking to look at everything that we do with this vendor, so I'm just going to narrow this down further and say I'm only interested in working with the printers. And here you can see I've now narrowed it down. So as a buyer, I want to be able to, negotiate with Far East or just be able to check on the status of that. So again, you can see here I'm now able to look at the different pricing. Similar kind of thing where I can come in here and take a look at last prices. So if they're giving me a price back in a quote that I'm not happy with, I can take a look at last pricing and be able to see, what it was that we bought it from and how much we paid and those kinds of things. The other thing that we have the ability to do is I can look to see, what is it that we're selling this for. So I can come in here and say, all right, well, let's go ahead and take a look at list price, and I can see here the list price changed to 172, and that gives me an idea of what my profit margin might be if I was to buy it at the new price, and to be able to use this for negotiating. And then similarly, if I have a situation where maybe I can't get a good price from the vendor this particular time, again, you can of course drill in and have more than one vendor, but I can also take a look at the alternative items, and just like we had on the customer side, be able to see, okay, maybe I can substitute an item and get a better price, for that, and really be able to make sure that I'm working my relationships and getting the best price and best cost for my company. So, again, as we take a look at the vendor hub, the concept here, very similar to the customer hub, giving you a CRM-like relationship. And then sort of last, but definitely not least, we wanted to get into a salesperson. And, the salesperson role, and let me again just reopen the customer hub here. And I'll take a full screen again. The salesperson role really is a type of thing that changes in each company. So in some cases, salespeople and customer service representatives kind of overlap, and you could have salespeople that are responsible for taking orders. In other cases, they're responsible for nurturing the relationships. So here we're just going to go ahead and take a look and see, from the perspective of a salesperson, that is a different role from the customer service representative, primarily just to be able to see how that could work. So one of the first things that we can do is I'm going to come in here and just filter on my salesperson code. In this case, I'll be Penny. And what this gives me the ability to do is to come in and see my open quotes. So if I've had quotes that were entered on my behalf and they're not converting or closing, I might want to be able to find out why. So I can come in here and take a look and see what customer quotes are outstanding, again, which documents. I can show item details to see what's on the quote, and be able to get more information. And then if I have to follow up with my customer on that, I certainly can, or it might be that I need to follow up with other people inside the company to find out why they haven't converted. Similarly, I can just switch over to the Open Orders tab. And again, here, as I'm looking at all this information, maybe this is more information than I need, so I go back to Summary by turning off the Show Item Details, and I'm able to see my 21 orders and get information as to, whether or not they've shipped. And the same kind of thing. If I have situations where we're having problems for some particular reason, whether it's a back order, or maybe I want to see just the unapproved orders, so that I can go and follow up and find out why this HM order school district hasn't yet been approved. And I can call credit or be able to try to push this along to get the order out to my customer. So again, this gives me the ability to kind of manage the relationship and make sure that everything's going well with the customer. Of course, just like the customer service representative, if I wanted information about something that's shipped, I can, of course, come in here and see, all the things that have actually shipped and give somebody their tracking number. So if I'm talking to my customer and while we're discussing a new opportunity, they say, by the way, can you tell me the status of my order or something that's shipped or the tracking number? Of course, you have the ability to get access to that and to be able to ship that as well. So that's exactly the same thing. And, the other thing I might want to take a look at here is my invoices. Now, there's a couple of reasons why I might want to take a look at the invoices. So we can first of all, I may have responsibility to be, collecting on my book here. So if this is my list of open outstanding invoices and some of them are starting to age, I may be responsible for going out and collecting on those. So this gives me that information. It may also be that I'm interested. I can go back and use the date filter for commission purposes or other kinds of things to be able to answer. So if my commissions are based off of invoicing and the invoice is being paid, I could come in here and switch to the closed invoices, and be able to see. I'll just go to everybody because Penny doesn't have any. To be able to see the closed invoices. So I'll come in as as somebody different. So I'm looking at Tim's closed invoices, and this helps me be able to, monitor and see, did I get my commission, has it been paid, so on and so forth. So this information, is really helpful for a couple of different purposes, as we're looking at the invoicing tab. And then I'll switch back to Penny for a minute. So let me just go back to open. Of course, you could do both. And I'll switch to back to Penny. And as Penny, we'll come in here and take a look at activity. And here again, similar kind of concept here. I wind up getting activities every time the invoices are generated. This is being done automatically, in this case by Data Messenger. So it gives me a record of all the fact that the invoices were sent. But I can again use the different filters in here. So if I come in here and say that I am interested, in looking at just the general in here. This helps me narrow down, and you can see here I have a task that I'm responsible to do. So again, somebody wants me to send brochures on a technology pack. Of course, I could create a new activity here as well. So if I'm working with a customer and I want somebody else to do something, I could click create new activity and then be able to answer any questions for them. And then even though we were taking a look at that from the orders and those kinds of things, moving more into the CRM functionality, I may also want to take a look at my opportunities. So here you can see the different opportunities that are outstanding. And if I'm about to go visit a customer or otherwise talk to them, so let's say I come in here and I say I want to work on the Sachem School District. I can come in here and see, Sachem's opportunities, or if I'm working actually on Port Jefferson School District, next I can come in and take a look at Port Jefferson's opportunities and be able to see, the opportunities that are outstanding, their current value, so on and so forth. So this really gives me the ability to kind of get an idea of what's going on, making sure that I'm working my pipeline and keeping track of what's going on. And then we also have the ability to come in and take a look at the price and availability tool. And the price and availability tool is really useful even for salespeople because, again, what this is going to give me the ability to do is to, let's say, filter on previous sales. Again, since they're in New York, I'm just going to filter on the New York warehouse here. And this is showing me the different items that they've bought before. So as I'm talking to them, I might be interested in what they've bought before because that's more likely what they're going to buy again. And in fact, I actually have the ability, if I think I'm going to get an order, to come in here and turn on the order pad. And what the order pad gives me the ability to do is without having to actually stop and open up a document to work with that, as I'm talking to them and I say, oh, okay, I think I might need 15 of these, and 10 of these, and 6 of these or whatever, I can come in here and record this. Now once I record this, I can actually save this, so I can just come in here and hit save. This becomes saved that I can go then send to my customer service representative, or if I am functioning in that role and I want to create a quote directly, you can see here I have the ability to create a quote or an order directly. So we'll just go ahead and click create quote. And as you can see, the quotation opens up and it's automatically filling in the information. So the customer is popping open, and here you can see it's actually putting in all of those items that we had brought in from the pricing and availability tool. So at this point, I'm now able to just go in. I can make, of course, any modifications that I want, a reference number, something else along those lines. But I can just go ahead and hit add a new to save and complete my my quote. So with that, again, we've gone through and shown a decent amount about how you can use Operation Transaction Center to improve your business. Obviously, there's more use cases. It's something that's very versatile and accessible throughout the system, from the business partner, from the item master, from the main menus. And we certainly appreciate you attending this. And now I'm going to go ahead and turn it back over to John, and we'll see if there's any questions. Otherwise, again, he'll wrap up, and we thank you for attending. And please do reach out to us for your copy of Operation Transaction Center, or if there's any interest in any of the other modules from Resolv. Thanks, John.
Thank you, Daryl. That was fantastic. Yeah, we have a few questions in the chat. Can you hear me though, just to make sure?
I can. Thanks, John.
Okay, Perfect. Yeah, so there are a few questions that we got in our chat here. Let me just pull them up. Yes, we do. So the first question is, how does this get set up if it doesn't require configuration?
It's a great question. So what winds up happening is that you'll register the lightweight add-on. So either we can do it for you, or your partner can do it, or you can do it if you've got the technical capabilities. And when you register the add-on, this does not create any kind of user-defined fields or tables or anything else like that. So we're not going to modify or change the system. It's just going to make it so that the add-on starts and the screens become available. So really, there's no configuration at all. You just need to register the lightweight add-on, and it becomes available, as you would any other certified add-on from SAP.
Great. Now, and then we have one more question too. Someone asked, what happens if I'm not using the other Resolv modules? Can I still use OTC?
Yes, yes. Actually, so it's a great question. Operation Transaction Center is itself a module of the Resolv suite. And as we kind of talked about, all of the different modules are standalone. So you certainly can run Operation Transaction Center without having any other Resolv module. And again, John, as you talked about, we're encouraging people to get Operation Transaction Center. So you don't need to be an existing Resolv customer. It's free for you as an attendee of this webinar if you just ask for it, and we'll certainly reach out to you to try to encourage that. But yes, if you only have that one module, what winds up happening is that you use all of the native SAP, the core SAP, data. So you're going to have your quotes and your orders and your activities, and those kinds of things. And then the other screens that would be related to the other Resolv modules, like we talked about for containers or those kinds of things, just won't be available because you don't have the data. So that kind of makes sense. So again, still no extra configuration, still really powerful. And of course, it's now available to you for free as well. So we're certainly encouraging you to consider it and add it and see if it works for you. And improves your business.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Daryl. Really appreciate it. Now, before we go, I just want to say and reiterate that there was the special offer, as Daryl just said before. For everyone that attended today, they'll receive a free Operations Transaction Center license, as well as zero charge in training on your system for OTC. And then on top of that, everyone will receive a free recording of this webinar today. Thank you guys so much for participating today in today's webinar. Thank you, Daryl, for your demonstration. Thank you guys so much again, and have a fantastic day.